So I just got finished watching Resident Evil Welcome to Racoon City. Fresh take on my viewpoint coming up in 5. Hello and welcome to ASeriousMan. This is gonna be my video review of Resident Evil Welcome to Racoon City. I've got to say I actually really enjoyed this movie. Welcome to Racoon City essentially covers the stories from Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica. It takes all the narrative strands from all those four movies, from those four games, and it condenses them and puts them all in one movie. So one of the things, and it's amazing how close it is to the video games. Despite the fact that a couple of characters, namely Jill Valentine and Leon S. Kennedy, don't really look like their characters from the games. A little off. But I really liked the way they did the Redfields. The girl played Claire was good. And her character was pretty close to the original, even though one of the things they did in the movie, and it starts very early, is that they linked Claire and Chris very early to Umbrella, back to the orphanage where they grew up. And there's elements of Code Veronica that come in and involving like the Ashford twins. Oops, spoiler. And they condense what they did is, the video games are pretty light on story. And so what the movie does is it basically takes all of the story elements, or many of the story elements from 4 different games, and then squeezes them together into one movie, which actually works best because there's really not enough story for one movie from the video games. I mean, you could expand on things and do stuff, but they did a really good job, I think, of like condensing a lot into one movie, which is what I think they should have done in the first one. Instead of just creating their own separate universe and then sort of later bringing in characters. Instead, they tie everything in, which is good. And there's a lot of Easter eggs and references to the games. The production design I thought was pretty good. Just having those moments where the sets just bring you back to the games, and it makes a lot more sense. In some cases, it makes more sense because in the games sometimes the mansion, you have a police station and sewer. There were no sewer. They didn't go in sewers really, but the way you have a police station and then a mansion and all the stuff that kind of like crammed together. But they combined elements from the first 2 games particularly and like put them together, and basically Resident Evil 3 they basically just skipped right over. The only thing is, except for there are a couple elements, but for the most part, they skipped over Resident Evil 3. But there are elements of story from Code Veronica. And like I said, they condense parts of the story. So, for example, in the video games, Leon is coming into town, and he comes in just after the apocalypse or whatever, and the police station is destroyed. In this movie, Leon is it's his first day on the job, like in the games, but he gets introduced to everybody. He's part of the state. He's part of the crew. At the same time that Alpha Team goes out, as in the first game, they go to the mansion and from the police station. So all of those little elements are put together, which is good because the video games really don't have the story, the depth of story to fit into one movie. I mean, it could. The games were great. The games were great because they were all about atmosphere and exploration and puzzles, and the story was really secondary. But it felt like this. It felt like there was a lot, but it was all about the atmosphere and the horror elements and all that stuff's there. And like I said, there are images and shots that will reference right back to the games. So if you grew up and you were a fan playing the games, then there'll be a lot to like in the movie. And there's a little tease that there could be more in the future, because there is a mid-credits scene which I won't reveal. But as the movie was ending, I remember thinking there's one character that wasn't in it, but shows up in the mid-credits scene, and there might be something coming forward in the future. But we'll see. But overall, I enjoyed it. I mean, it didn't really blow me away. The way it started, it was kind of, they have a slightly different, as I recall, like a different origin for Chris and Claire, like, and their relationship's a little different. I know it was strained in the games, but it's kind of hinted at. Anyways, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and it's a good movie if you like the games. There's a lot to like here. There's signs that there could be more to come, and so overall, I think it was a good movie. And if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into the horror genre and Resident Evil, then you should probably go see it.